Hello movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about No Hard Feelings. This one is starring Jennifer Lawrence and Andrew Barth Feldman. This is a new comedy that just came out. For anyone who is not familiar or hasn't seen the trailer, basically the plot of this movie is that Jennifer Lawrence's character, who is an older woman, is in danger of losing her home. And in order to be able to save her house, she needs a new car. Hence the whole plot in that she ends up signing up to date this kid Percy in order to get a free car. Now, I know that I read quite a lot of comments and sort of hate, I guess, that was going around about this one because of the age difference between Jennifer Lawrence's character and her co-star. Jennifer Lawrence's character of Maddie is, I believe, 32 in this film, and then Percy, the kid that plays opposite her, is only 19. And so she signs up to kind of date this 19-year-old and sleep with him in order to get a free car. And there were a lot of people that felt that that was pretty inappropriate. Now, I will say I sort of was expecting this movie to be a lot more cringe and a lot more uncomfortable than what it actually ended up being. And I think even though there is quite a large age gap that normally I would kind of have an issue with in movies, I feel like if the situation were reversed, no one would blink an eye. How many movies have we watched with significantly older male actors than their female counterparts, and no one kind of blinks at that? No one calls that out as being inappropriate. So I feel like it's a bit of a double standard. And Jennifer Lawrence, to me, doesn't look as old as she is. Not that that makes it any different, but if you actually sit down and watch the movie, what actually happens or what the actual plot line is, I felt like was not in that vein at all. It kind of reminded me of, what is that movie with Ryan Reynolds? Just Friends, I want to say that one is called. It's in the same realm as that. Just in that sort of comedy, fun, but sort of has this heartfelt meaning to it. And I have to admit, I walked into No Hard Feelings fully expecting to hate it and kind of just waste, an hour and 40 minutes. That's sort of my intention, was to just kind of go in and meh, I didn't have an opinion one way or the other about this movie. And I have to say, I genuinely enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. I thought it was pretty heartfelt. The storyline was great. And shockingly, it actually was really funny. I don't think it was on the level of Just Friends funny, but I think it's in that ballpark. I think it's in that realm. So I think if you enjoy kind of those sort of comedies, then you are probably going to enjoy No Hard Feelings. I think there was only one sort of scene or sequence in this film that I felt was kind of inappropriate and didn't serve any function. And that is, spoilers, that there is some nudity, full-on nudity in this movie during one scene. And it is only that one scene, but I don't think it lends to this movie at all. I actually think that one particular scene could have been done differently. It didn't lend anything to the overall movie, and I think it actually kind of cheapened it a little bit, considering that the actual sort of point of the story kind of ends on this very good-hearted, good-natured kind of that, deeper, in your feelings kind of a thing. And so to have full frontal nudity in the film I didn't think made any sense. Like, I didn't think it served much of a purpose other than just to have nudity in there and kind of be a little bit shocking or a little bit risky. But again, I think it could have been done differently. I don't think it was necessary to put it in there, and I don't think it would have ruined the show or the movie at all if it hadn't been there or had been done a little bit with a little bit more modesty. Not to say anything bad against like Jennifer Lawrence, for instance. I think she is stunning. I think considering that she has had a baby, she looks freaking incredible. But that being said, I don't think that I ever really wanted to see her full on nude. At least she's not my personal cup of tea. And I wasn't expecting it. You know, the overall feel of this movie, I didn't think needed that. So there was nothing that like prepared me, or I didn't go in like expecting there to be inappropriateness, even though I know that the whole movie is meant to be like her actually getting this younger boy to sleep with her. When you take a step back and look at the plot as a whole, that piece or that scene just kind of doesn't fit because of like sort of what their relationship turns out to be in the end. So that is the only really bad thing that I have to say about the movie, and that I don't think like ruins the movie in any way. I just, for one, I think right out of the gate, it becomes something that is inappropriate to like take a younger kid to. I don't even know if I would feel like it would be appropriate to like take a teenager to. Not that teenage boys wouldn't just sneak out of the house to go see it anyways, or find that particular scene somewhere. But I think that this movie actually could have been a pretty fun sort of thing to maybe watch with your teenage kids if it wasn't for that particular sequence. Now, if you are the type of parents that just don't care about that sort of thing, then by all means, I think the rest of the movie is actually pretty decent as far as like watching it with some older children. I think it would probably be fine. And I would say older children like teenage age. I think it would probably be fine for that. And I think it's pretty funny. I think kids would probably enjoy it if they are a little bit on the older side and can understand, you know, some of the jokes and things. I think Jennifer Lawrence's character of Maddie in this, I loved. It really kind of reminded me of who Jennifer Lawrence is just in general. Like, I think she kind of was playing herself or more close to who she probably is in real life in this film. Like, she definitely kind of has, like, she's very pretty, of course, but she has some of those like tomboy tendencies or a little bit more of this closed off nature. That, not saying that Jennifer Lawrence is like closed off, but just in the way that she kind of behaves, it sort of is this attitude of like, she isn't necessarily thinking about what she's doing or what she's saying. It just is kind of who she is, right? If that makes sense. But overall, I would say No Hard Feelings was a win for me. I am not bummed out that I went to go see it. I genuinely enjoyed myself the whole way through. I didn't think it was too long or too short. I thought it was pretty well paced and pretty decent. There was a guy that was sitting kind of a couple of seats down from me that fell asleep during the film. But to be fair, I was convinced he was asleep before the movie ever started. So I'm not sure that that's really a good gauge of whether the movie was good or not. This one I would recommend. So I don't know. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think of it if you do end up going to see No Hard Feelings. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family. You can find me on Instagram at Cinematic Sarcastic Podcast, and I hope to see you in the next episode.